I've taken on many submissives as a professional dominatrix and lifestyle dom, and although my process does vary with a professional client and personal slave, I want to share the core tenets of how I personally approach submissive training. So stay tuned today as I discuss the steps I have used in professional and personal contexts to win deep devotion and produce incredible outcomes in my submissives. If you haven't watched my video, 5 Submissive Training Techniques, where I share slave training tips for dominance, check it out because in that video, we laid the ethical foundation behind slave training. I approach slave training very organically because not every submissive is the same, even if I offer a similar set of experiences as dominant. So I take the time to learn about their attachment style, communication tendencies, triggers, desires, fantasies, fetishes, boundaries, and more. Yes, I have a general framework as we discussed in my submissive training techniques video, but it is based on principles that work and systems that align with my core values. But every submissive is unique, and I value each experience accordingly. I remember one of my new subs being shocked by the fact that I didn't demand a stereotypical honorific immediately, and instead allowed a brief period of time for my submissive to form an honorific unique to their experience of me. I also build devotion before stating demands. And I believe that true devotion is earned, not demanded, so I go slow. And I take the time to build a solid sense of safety and trust. This deliberate pace also serves as a bit of training in patience for my new submissive, as patience and reactive, not proactive service are highly attractive to me. Steady pacing also acts as a form of psychological tease and denial, gradually building a sense of anticipation within the submissive. An amusing reaction I've noticed more often than not employing this strategy is that the submissive will want to jump into things once they truly start to feel safe. So when they start getting a bit fussy and communicating statements of boredom or wanting more, that's when I know, pretty much, I have free reign to play, always being respectful of their limits, of course. But for me, it's never, "You've agreed to be my slave now. Here are all the things I expect of you." It's, "You've agreed to be my slave now. So let me show you just how good of a decision you just made." It's about positively reinforcing their consent. Consent is a choice. We want the submissive to be happy about their choice. And part of this phase includes training and setting expectations, because that does build the structure of the dynamic and creates the erotic power gap. But it's not just about that. This isn't about proving yourself in terms of worth, value, experience, etc. to the submissive dominance. But it is about showing them that they made the right choice in choosing you. I also make it a point to induce surrender rather than just pursue compliance. You see, compliance is not surrender. Compliance isn't even a step toward surrender. Compliance and surrender are two contradictory concepts. You see, compliance is essentially choosing the strongest fear response, like fearing a dominant's wrath more than your fear, aversion, resistance, or will causing you to obey. Surrender, on the other hand, is choosing the greatest source of devotion, essentially choosing to trust the dominant's character more than the voice of your own fear, aversion, resistance, or will. I had a submissive who loved financial domination, but had been burned by a former findom and was really scared of being taken advantage of again, and rightfully so. So I went slow because I wanted him to surrender his wallet, not just simply comply with my purchase orders. So I gradually required one tangible thing at a time and attached it to an experiential reward. And if I remember correctly, the first purchase I insisted upon was a bottle of designer perfume that I only put on for our sessions. The only time he smelled it was with me. But every time he's with me, he feels safe and gets pleasure. That was the association I wanted to build. So I started off with financial requests, not demands, taking my time between them while showing interest in his financial well-being by helping him with a budget, etc. Okay, I did all of this to show him that I was safe and could be trusted. And what happened? In a matter of months, he gave me 2 full credit card numbers and no limit. But the important thing was what I did when I got the credit cards. I didn't go crazy. Oh, I used it. I had fun, but I would always gently hint or tease at it before I did so to provide emotional processing time. And I would debrief every purchase. And I would occasionally actually tell him no when he was desperate to buy me things. The denial serving as financial safety and an erotic denial to increase the power gap. I also prefer to incentivize with reward instead of threaten with punishment. Yes, my subs know exactly what my standards are, what I expect, and so on, and I will deal with any infractions swiftly and effectively, as punishment is about finding the true pain point and making it cost the submissive enough that they don't want to cross the line again. However, I am a strong believer in the use of rewards and more specifically, punishment to incentivize desired behaviors. Remember, punishment is reward wrapped in role play. So my goal as a dominant is to show my submissive that they don't earn these punishments by misbehaving and bratting. Those will actually earn you true punishment, and you will get the opposite of what you want. If you want that kind of intense, erotic role play that maximizes the power gap, you're going to be sweet and pleasing and add value to my life. And I will be in charge of those punishments. I will handle weaving in a fitting role play that meets you on your level of fantasy. But it's not your job as my submissive to try to manipulate these punishments and fantasies into existence through bratty behavior, disobedience, or topping from the bottom. I even did a full series all about bratting, so if you haven't watched it, follow the link in the description to check it out. Because one of the definitions I made in that video is the difference between a brat tamer and a brat handler. I am a brat tamer, not a brat handler. At that point, it becomes a very simple option for my submissive. Continue this displeasing behavior and temporarily lose the privilege of my dominance, or end this displeasing behavior, maintain access to my dominance, settle into patience, and trust that I will give you what you want when the time is right. It's really about presenting the submissive with a question. Are you going to force your will or yield to mine? Sometimes that means waiting to see some quiet patience without pushing the matter again. Sometimes that means a noticeable attitude shift and an apology. But I will usually wait until I see that submissive has stopped internally fighting with it. They have fully released their desires to me, trusting me to fulfill them at the right time. And when I see that shift, that surrender, that is when I generously pour out reward. I also gradually incorporate rules, rituals, and protocols in the most organic way possible, and at a pace that doesn't overwhelm the submissive, which is especially helpful for submissives with ADHD, anxiety, and PTSD. I recently had a sweet little submissive girl who was super easy and very pleasing. But during a chat one day, she dropped the F-bomb and it shook me. It shooketh me. We're both adults and I can make a sailor blush. That wasn't it. This incredibly sweet, little, unbecoming submissive persona and the language, and it didn't match and I did not want to hear it again. So removing foul language from my submissive became an organic point of training, even though it wasn't initially on my radar or training plan. To me, submissive training is not an initial phase. It's an intentional and ongoing part of my role as a dominant. In viewing submissive training as a marathon, not a sprint, I don't want to burn out myself or my submissive by going too hard too fast, so to speak. I don't want to overwhelm either of us with so many tedious rules, rituals, and protocols that my focus becomes so split that I fail to stay deeply present and attuned to my submissive and their experience. As a dominant, I need the freedom and space to think creatively and flow naturally. And that flow is blocked the moment I feel confined or confused by too many points of submissive training. This is why I say you literally cannot be an insecure dominant. Because if you're approaching submissive training through the lens of insecurity, hoping your intense list of rules, rituals, and protocols will make you seem legit to that new submissive or impress that experienced slave, you're already missing it. That insecurity will more often than not cause you to overpromise and underdeliver, or paralyze you with performance anxiety, ultimately leading to creative burnout. So let's not go there. You want to gradually introduce rules, rituals, and protocols, and do so according to the cues that naturally present themselves as you engage with the submissive, because they will reveal themselves faster than you think. So these are the 5 submissive training techniques that I use personally. But the beautiful thing about the Kinky Buffet is that we all have so many different things on our kinky plates. So what about you? Do you have a signature training style? Share it in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next video.